Show take one. Hi, I'm Imran, and I'd like to introduce you to some interesting personalities, to some lovely event spaces, to events that are happening out here in Melbourne. Join me every week on Down Under with Imran Saibo. We are at the beautiful Mulberry Galleries. It is an all-in-one creative space. It's got artists working in quiet corners. It's got an event space house within it, and it's got beautiful artifacts. In fact, when I first came in here, I fell so much in love with it that I told the owner, Jerry Melder, that I'd like to live here. It's such a lovely creative space. It is a space that inspires, and I found it just by chance because I happened to meet Jerry Melder over a lunch. I didn't figure him out for a Sri Lankan at first, and then when I visited his galleries, I realized that he was of Sri Lankan origin, and he was actually good enough recently to sponsor or give his venue out for a Sri Lankan fundraiser. And that's how our relationship began. So I have Jerry here with me today, and I will let him speak on the gallery. And I would suggest if any of you all ever visit Melbourne, or if you're already in Melbourne, this is one place you have to drop into. Hi, Jerry.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. And Jerry, just to give our viewers a little idea of how you came about here, how you came into Australia. When did you actually come into Australia? Were you born here, or were you?
I was born in Kandy, but before we go there, can I just say thank you very much for your kind words. I feel humble.
You're welcome.
All right, that's great. So I was born in Kandy, and I was a little wee tacker when we migrated to Australia. My dad was in the railway, and I think the government changed hands, and they gave him, I think, 2 weeks to learn Sinhalese and everything else. Now, he's the Dutch burger, proud as anything. Of course, he's not going to bow down to this. So he said, no, I'm not going to learn. So then they said, well, you better retire. And that's what he did. And then we couldn't come out to Australia because at that stage, there was the White Australia policy. So we had to prove that we had European or English blood to come to this country. That's the way it was in those days. Anyway, long story short, we did all that and we came here. And then I had to adjust to living here because as soon as we landed, the first thing I faced was racism. But that's okay. You learn to handle things. And I felt pity for the people because they didn't understand. They were just in this space. And they just said, why don't you go back to your own country and that? And then I was thinking to myself, isn't it ironic? We were basically asked to leave Sri Lanka and you come here and they said, why don't you go back to your country? We really didn't have a country to go to. And that's when it dawned on me that we're really citizens of the world. And that's basically how I came here. And I went to school here. But then the way I overcome racism was humor. I had to come up with these one-liners and everything else. And, then they all thought, this guy's funny. Well, we become friends with him. So I didn't get beat up or anything. I was fine. That was it.
This must have been quite some time ago.
Yes, it was in the 60s. Yeah.
And from the 60s, we are now in the 2000s.
Yeah.
And Australia has changed so much. It's a multi-ethnic bubbling pot. In fact, I have been here for almost 10 to 11 years, and I've never ever come across racism here in Australia. In fact, there's so many different communities, so many different people, and I think you must have found that it's all changed now.
Look, I think it's wonderful. I think the Aussies today, they have tolerance, they have understanding, they're accepting, and it is a great pleasure to live in a country like this. And I think the majority of Australians today are a credit to the way this country really is. It's fabulous. I know, I just think it's wonderful. So there's no racism that I know of now at all.
That's very heartening to hear, because whatever is going on all around the world, this is something totally different. This is a place, in fact, they say Melbourne is the most livable city in the world. and in the most livable city in the world, you have made yourself a little bit of heaven with Mulberry. What really got you into bringing all this together?
Well, see, I was, I'm always been a bit of a dreamer, and I thought, I used to build, when I started work, I used to build homes, and we started to, there was a lot of waste of timber even then, and no one cared about the environment or sustainability or anything like that. So I thought, no, there's got to be something here. There's so much waste. We've got to be able to do something. And I started to build green homes, with the idea of recycling timbers and everything, because these beautiful Australian hardwood timbers, mainly Victorian ash. And we started doing that. And it kind of, I built a home for some guy, and then his brother said, "Oh, can I?" And it just kicked on from there. Then his father, his whole family, then their cousins and their friends, and so that's where it all started. And my passion for using recycled timbers, because you need to keep trees, because of trees really, the timber in the trees, they store carbon dioxide. They breed the carbon dioxide, and they turn that into wood. And so every bit of timber you have at home or wherever is full of carbon dioxide. The only way it's released back into the atmosphere if it rots and it decomposes, or it's burnt or whatever. But apart from that, everything's there. So they emit oxygen, and they breathe in all the carbon dioxide. Trees are amazing.
So, Jerry, you also built into Mulberry. You built in an event space, and you have artists coming out here. You have showings happening. You have artists working in different spaces all over the gallery, and that's a lovely thing because artists are actually at work. Was this from the very inception, or did you gradually move into all this? Because I know you love music, and I know you love. In fact, when we were trying to do jazz, you wanted it rocking.
Yeah. Well, I think everyone loves music, but no, it was something that evolved. When we first started, we used to design furniture and get it made in India, and so we used to import a lot. We'd work with a small family over there. When I say small, they had 500 people working for them, but they're all family. So, but it was great. It was really, really good. I mean, it was hard to get around the way they think, but it was pretty cool. And then, with certain things happening, and you get copied. China comes on, and in Australia it gets a lot of stuff from China, some good, some bad, and the competition was really tough because in India I wanted to pay them a lot more than what they were asking me, which we did. So for us to resell that, and we were dealing with the hospitality industry, and we had some loyal people that supported us, but then it just got to a stage where I thought, we can do something a bit more than that. And then we started, because people used to come. We've always made picture frames and furniture using recycled timbers. People used to come in and they said, I need a dining table. So we'd make that. I need picture frames. And then artists would come in, I've been working from home in my little bedroom. Can I lease a space from you? So we're not smart. They're the smart people. They come and they created this. So I can't take the credit for that at all. And then one of their friends, another artist, would come in, and so on and so on. And that's when we started. And our warehouse turned into a gallery because a lot of the galleries around here were closing down because their margins were too high and whatever. So what we did then was we opened a gallery so that these artists, just local artists, could display their artwork. And then it just snowballed from there. And then I met Imran, and he's talking about events and everything else. And it's wonderful. It's wonderful because, you have to evolve, because if you don't evolve, you're going to dissolve.
You have been evolving, because from frames to recycle, which you are still doing and which is your core business, you've been the catalyst for artists to come in here. You've been encouraging art, and now you've got an art gallery going, and now in the middle of an art gallery you've got cocktails and parties going, and that's just brilliant, because this is quietly, I call this place a little gem, a hidden gem or a hidden treasure, but it is very soon becoming a very, very known gem and I think you're going to get a lot more people. Shall we move over to your gallery, Jerry, and take a look at what's out there?
Thank you for your
Brilliant.
time, Bill.
So I'm now sitting on a chair. I'm moving from the art and the artistic part of, or this is also a part of the artistic part, but I'm moving from the art as in paintings to the art that Jerry creates out of recycled wood, out of just offcuts of little bits and pieces. What I'm sitting on now and what Jerry is sitting on now, which is actually a side table, is something made by Jerry, and I will let him explain the process because that would be the best way to go about it because he talks about it with the actual passion for what he does. So Jerry, how did these come about?
Well, look, I'm really blessed. I've got a great support system, so I can't take all the credit. I've got some young people working with me, and they inspire me. They have shown me ways of recycling beyond my wildest dreams. But these things, we make our picture frames and our furniture. We still have offcuts. So what do we do with them? And I do not want to see them in landfill. And then we came up with an idea and started to make these. And all it is if you look at the end grain, it's just the offcuts. We push them all together, and that becomes a piece of beauty, I think. And I hope, and we have sold quite a few of them. So more people are starting to understand about the environment when they make their lifestyle choices, and it's really, really important. I think that people do think that, but this is our pride and joy. It's beautiful. We love it.
So what I'm sitting on now is actually a bunch of offcuts, right?
Yes, exactly.
So this chair, all this has been tapped in,
Yeah.
and they're all, otherwise they would have gone into waste.
Oh, and landfill.
Oh, brilliant! So that's really a brilliant idea. You must be getting rid. You must be pushing a lot of these, but I'm sure more than the profit motive, it also gives you pleasure to see waste not want not.
As I said, I'm really blessed to have a great team of people who believe in the mission statement of trying to have a zero waste production.
Lovely, lovely. I might take one of these home actually. All right, so we have moved to the event space part of Mulberry, and this houses all the art and all the cocktails happen here, all the action happens here, the music happens here, and I think Jerry, even though that is the Mulberry space or the framing and the recycling and everything else is Jerry's love and Jerry's passion, he's now fast a growing fond of this area as well because it means a lot of nights with a lot of music, with a lot of lights and a lot of very interesting people who occupy this space when there are showings, art showings, cocktails, birthday parties even, and even a wedding or two. So that's how it's going. And at the back of us here, you can see the art on the walls. So Jerry, how did all this come about?
Well, as I said earlier, the artists have got nowhere to go and display their art because a lot of the galleries are closing down, and then they come to us and we're reasonably priced. We want to support and uplift these people, empower them. So we started the gallery, and look, we've never looked back. It's been absolutely wonderful.
But some of the artists who are showing here are quite well-known names. They're recognized names, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. At the moment, in fact, we've got a girl called Joan Blonde. There's two artists here, Aliki and Joan Blonde. Now, Joan Blonde, she sells art all around the world. And she's just incredible. She's just an incredible, down-to-earth person. She comes here, she's humble, she greets people, she'll talk to anyone, and and she doesn't go the hard sell. She's incredible, really is.
So recently, this art on the walls here is her work, and you had a showing and you had a opening cocktail, if I remember right. I think I got an invitation for that. I'm not sure if I came, but anyway, and you keep doing this regularly with different artists.
Yeah. So what we do is we recommend to artists that they can lease the space from us for 2 weeks, and we'll help them with their marketing. We have an opening afternoon, an opening night, or whatever, where we have the champagne and some finger food, just to ease people into. Some people have never walked through an art gallery in their life. So we keep it, and there's no charge. It's free entry. They just walk in here and enjoy the art. They get to talk and speak to the artist. What motivates them? What do they do? How do they come about this art? Why do they paint? And so everyone gets enlightened by this, and it's just a wonderful feeling to stand back and watch the artists speak and tell from their humble beginnings to whatever heights they've reached now. Okay, so now we're in the workshop. This is the best part of this building, and this is the fun part. Look, these are some driftwood that we've got. It's Victorian ash, and we turn these into picture frames. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but look, nature has created this. We just rub it back and enhance it. It's just absolutely beautiful, It's irregular on the outside, and here's a coating of like a chocolate wax that we're putting on it. So it depends on the finish they want. That's a natural. And have a look at this old machine. This is La Invincible. It's an Italian machine from the 1930s. It's one of my favorite machines we have here. It's absolutely beautiful. Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. It really is. It really is amazing. Now, basically, the timber comes in, and the timber comes in that sort of style, and we take it and we cut it here. And this is what it looks like after it's cut, and then we put it through our thicknesser and we dress it up a little bit. Then we take it over there and we rebate it, and there's another Italian machine over there, Alpha machine. That's a double miter saw where it cuts all the timber to the correct size, and it's a fabulous machine. We've never ever had any issues with it at all. Perfect. So, but this is basically our space, and this is what happened. And let me just take you around the corner here. I just want to show you excuse the mess for a start, but this is the sign when we purchased the building, and so if you look at this sign, they proudly says one of the features: steel truss and an asbestos roof. Now, asbestos is such a dangerous thing, but they're promoting it back in the day to buy it. So today, if you saw true asbestos, you'd run away. You wouldn't buy the place. But that's the original sign when we purchased the building. So how long ago was this? This was in around about 1990, perhaps even before then. Yeah. So we've been here around about 30-something years. And yeah, so that's what it was, and it takes pride, in our workshop. We are reminded about this all the time, and it's great. Love it. So now here are some other frames. These are fairly chunky. Again, nature has done their work, and we just come and rub it back, enhance it, and get all the credit.
You did mention something some time ago. You said you were one of the few people who actually exported things to China, because China is famous for exporting all their product out, and they cheap as chips. Yeah. But you guys actually sent out your stuff to China, which is incredible.
Yeah. Look, not just China. We send stuff all around the world. We're really blessed. We work closely with National Geographic. They've ordered some stuff from us, and look, we work with some amazing companies around the world, because people, they want to buy Australian hardwood. I mean, really, this is eucalyptus. To be honest with you, it grows everywhere in the world, not just here. But they go, no, we want Aussie stuff. So if that's what they want, we give it to them, and we don't say too much about it. So they want Australian hardwood. That's what they get. But yeah, no, it's good. Yeah.
And that's where you do the framing of the paintings, or is it on the other side?
The assembly is done here, and putting it all together, putting artwork into frames, and that is done in the other area. But basically, we just use sanders and have a look at some of these frames. So these are all just natural frames, but yeah, they're beautiful. We love it. We're totally blessed to be in this business, saving all this beautiful timber from going to landfill and waste. It's just such a pleasure to be here. All right. So once the frames have been manufactured and put together, they're sanded and completed as picture frames. The next phase is they come into this area here, where this is the area where the girls put glass and backing in, put the artwork in, and basically finish it. The final quality control is here, and then they get packaged over there, and then they get dispatched. But just come through. I'll just show you one that we've got sitting here. We just had some. We've just had a bit of artwork put into this frame now. Okay, so this frame here is Kauri timber. It's a New Zealand timber. I got it from a house here in Brighton. I've got a whole heap of it. It's from 1890, and it's just got the patinas, and no two frames are going to be the same. So we've got a limited. We're releasing it as a limited edition because that's all we have. But here's a fine example of the girls. They put someone's ordered this, and they sent us some artwork to put into it. But that's the look. Look at that. It looks amazing. Like, if not, this timber would be going to landfill. Look at that. It's too beautiful to let it go. It's
matches this. The colors.
Yeah.
The colors all just blend.
Beautiful. And that's what we try and do. We try and create harmony with the frame and the artwork, because you don't want the frame competing with the image. We're trying to create, and sometimes people won't even see and understand that, but they'll go, yeah, that looks good. They don't need to know about harmony. They don't need to know about anything, as long as it looks good to them, because this is about them, not us. Yeah, so this is such an amazing business. We get to see people's artworks. We get to match frames to it, people's travels. We've got artists that we work with, some original artwork. We have framed some amazing pieces, and it's just such a pleasure. It really, really is. It's just amazing. We love it. Can't get enough of it.
So your work is basically traveling the world.
I hope so. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's beautiful. Thank you.
Jerry Melder, it's been lovely talking to you. We've met Jerry Melder, the migrant. We've met Jerry Melder, the artist. We've met Jerry Melder, the builder. We met Jerry Melder in all his different shapes and forms. But at the end of the day, there is out here a very creative person who has built a beautiful venue for a lot of things, for artists, for everything creative possible. Before we wrap up this little chat, thank you for being with us, Jerry. And would you like to say a few words to people back home in Sri Lanka?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you for your time, sir, and thank you for your time. And I really appreciate it, and I feel humbled because, we are sitting here in a small business, working away. We don't know what's happening around the world. And when we meet people like Imran, they start to expose these small businesses to the world. And I think small businesses is what runs the world, not large corporations, not the money mongers. It's the small businesses that keep, especially this country, going. Now, over in Sri Lanka, I haven't been there for quite a while now because of COVID, but I love coming there. It is an amazing place. I learn from so many people there. They're just, the attitude, they're laid back, but yet they're just so passionate about whatever they do. And it's such a pleasure to go there. It's a learning curve, not only just a holiday and great food, but such a learning curve. So good luck to all you people out there, and hopefully I'll see you guys soon.
Thank you, Jerry. It's been great talking to you. And hopefully, I'll see you in Australia. I'll see you in Sri Lanka. And best of luck with your business. And I'm sure it's going to get bigger and bigger. Thank you very much.